As I sit here in this auditorium from day one until today, I'm really taken aback by the grief, the pain, and the hurt suffered by the civilian population all over the world. I could not emphasize the fact that we need to act now, and if further casualties are to be avoided.
When I listened to the statements, I wasn't completely sure if we're all here for the same reasons. Some statements gave me a bit the impression that what we're here for is we're trying to regulate the use of cluster munitions. But that's not what this process is about, and I think we agreed in Oslo a year ago that what we're trying to do is to ban cluster munitions that cause unacceptable harm to civilians, to prohibit the use of these weapons.
From the outcome of yesterday afternoon's session here, I was extremely disappointed because I thought that Australia, France, Canada, many countries of the European Union were here to really promote this process and this treaty to ban cluster munitions. But after listening to their deliberations, I wonder if they're here merely to protect their own cluster munitions arsenals and those of their allies.
Some wealthy countries like the UK, Germany, Australia, are calling for exceptions to the treaty. This means that they're calling for certain cluster munitions not to be prohibited. And it generally just so happens that these are the very same cluster munitions that these countries have. So they're essentially saying, our cluster munitions are okay, it's other people's cluster munitions that are the problem. We think this is unacceptable.
Some of these munitions achieve very good results in testing under ideal conditions. The field reality is rather different, and for example, damage in the air has caused a lot of munitions to fail. The fuses are designed to work when they hit the ground, but some of them sustain great damage before that even happens.
I take some umbrage when NGOs are dismissed because we don't have the expertise. I may not be able to design a cluster munition, but I certainly can see its impact on the ground. I had a real hard time listening to people saying that, you know, of course, under existing international law, no professional military would intentionally target civilians with cluster munitions. I was reminded of one point in the Ottawa process where one nation was announcing its new policy. And its new policy was that it was going to ban anti-personnel landmines except when it needed to use them. I also want to know about transition periods. One of the other things that the Ottawa process was always accused of was that it was a feel-good exercise, a tiny group of states who, you know, didn't matter. There are now 156 who are part of that treaty, and there has been outstanding implementation and compliance, and not just because the states did it, it's because civil society is still there working with them and pushing them. I would say negotiating a treaty and then having a transition period of 10 years to continue to use the weapon you say is banned is a feel-good exercise. If you don't want to ban the weapon, don't sign the treaty.
It's probably positive because these things are coming out, but it's outrageous because these countries are the ones that produced the weapon, that used it in the past. I mean, France is leading a group of countries, of users, producers, countries that basically try to water down this process. This is completely unacceptable. Countries like the United Kingdom, Denmark, the Netherlands, Germany, the Slovak Republic, the Czech Republic, basically countries that are manipulated by the United States to try to water down this process. This is completely unacceptable. This is a betrayal of what is, I mean, the problems we see on a daily basis in the field. The problems that survivors who are here with us at this conference are shouting to the world. This is completely outrageous.